I'm so excited. This is the amazing and beautiful and one and only Tab Katal. Thank you so much for being here, lovely. You have been such an amazing person to know and to work with and to be able to have in our community. You provide so much value in our community, and your wisdom and who you are is just so beautiful. I feel incredibly honored. So I know that we have pivoted and we've come up with a more formulated bio of what it is you do. So would you like to share that to everybody?
Sure. So, hi, my name's Tabitha. I am a therapist and coach. I enjoy predominantly working with for-purpose organisations, helping them with their staff to ensure that they don't reach burnout and build that resilience. And I also work with individuals who are looking to move through and overcome overthinking and anxiety.
Yay, amazing. That's so amazing. That work is so powerful. So we will share a little bit about where you guys can go to reach out with Tab. I know that you prefer Tab over Tabitha, don't you? Yeah. If you would like to know more, we'll share more about that at the end of the video. But I'm just going to ask Tab her experience with working with me, being part of the community, and that way you guys can get a bit of a sneak peek with what it's like to be part of this community. We also have some exciting news about Tab that we'll share towards the end. So Tab, first and foremost, I'd love to know, how would you describe Nina as a person? What's it like to work with Nina?
So I would describe Nina as highly energized. She's very focused, and she is very equipped at pinning down, where your blind spots might be. So yeah, I've spent a lot of time in discomfort with Nina, but ultimately coming out the other side, very grateful that, she held that space for me.
Oh, I love that. And so what were your results in your business before working with Nina?
So I would say I had a lot of trouble packaging what I did. And even the pitch that I did just then, I didn't have that before I worked with Nina. So I was confident in what I did, but I was not so confident in being able to explain to other people what I did. And so Nina really helped me package that up so that it could be a marketable, a saleable service that I could sell.
Awesome. And what about financially? Without going into exact numbers, you don't need to go into exact numbers, but where were you at financially prior, and what have been your results now, 6 months into working with me?
Yeah, so I think when I first started, I really had trouble with the income side of individual clients. Again, it was the work with Nina packaging that helped me make it into something that we could sell. And so I noticed my clients in the early stages, there was a tripling in the individual coaching sales that I had.
Yay! That feels so good. How does it feel to be able to increase your income knowing that you're so good at what you do?
Oh, it's a huge confidence booster. And I think it also helps you understand your value. So I think that was another part of working with Nina, was helping me understand my value, and that it's okay to recognize the value that you add.
I love that. And so, Tab, if you think back to the very, very start, what was it that made you decide to work with me?
Oh gosh. I think it was really that soulful kind of connection, that genuineness about really feeling, because I was in a very uncomfortable place. The money side of things really frightened me to make that commitment. And I think it was really about having you hold the space, Nina, to say this is a commitment to yourself. And I guess that's what got me over the line, was that genuineness, that I felt like you really were able to see like where my vulnerabilities were, and kind of help me through that difficult space. And I thought, well, if she can help me through that, then I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff that she can help me through.
That's so beautiful. And, really embodies, I think, conscious sales. We're not trying to push anything. It's like, let's have this heartful connection and see what we can create together. And Tab, I know that you touch a little bit on blind spots. So can you share a little bit more around what were some of the blind spots that you had maybe at the start of your business that maybe you weren't aware of at the time, but now looking back, you can see that they were blind spots?
Sure. I would say one of the first or early blind spots that, that you and the group, the wider community helped me understand was the resistance I have to reaching out for help. And we had a great session, I think, where everyone was in tears. I know I was, which really kind of brought home just how much, I thought that I would reach out for help, but I realized just how very little I was doing that. And so that probably was a really, a moment for me where I realized that was a blind spot, reaching out for help or not reaching out for help.
Yeah. And I remember, I think within a week or two, everything just changed for you. You're like, oh my gosh, all this money's coming in. I'm getting paid more. Where are all these clients coming from? And that's really common that when we move through that internal resistance, that things shift for us externally. Can you think of any of the other blind spots that you want to share?
I think having led businesses before, so I've been, most of my career is in leadership. And I think I felt like because I had been a part of business, a part of corporate, that I knew how to run a business, but it's very different. And I feel like that was a blind spot for me as well, just understanding that there are, sequences to going about growing your business. And, you spoke about sometimes you're in growth phase and other times you're in execution phase. And so just understanding that as a business owner, that's quite different than, leading, a very large organization, as I've had experience to do, it's very different in your own company, especially when you are the only person. So I think that was a blind spot for me, just thinking I had corporate experience, therefore I kind of knew what would be required to run a business.
It's really powerful. I remember it took me 9 months to make commission in real estate. And I thought, cool, I'm going to go and make sales in my own business. And it took me 7 years to build a 6-figure coaching business and 9 months to sell a $750,000 property in real estate. So we think that things translate easily when it takes a lot more effort and time than we anticipate.
Absolutely.
So my question for you now, Tab, is does Nina's conscious sales method work?
Yeah, I think it does. I think the elements of it are very simple, but they're very targeted. And I think the combination of having you as a coach behind the scenes keeps you disciplined in, I'm not sure how many times you've said to me, yes, that's important, but not right now. I want you to stay focused on this. So I think the methodology is very simple and easy to follow. It's just coupling that with the discipline of somebody saying to you, stay on track. Just, I know it feels like you want to do this and you want to, but just stay. And I want you to just do this. So yeah, I think definitely, it definitely works.
Yeah. And I think now, Tab, you have a much better understanding of what are the 20% of activities that yield 80% of the results.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a key part of that, is just I thought branding was quite complicated as well. And certainly I have, space to continue to improve that. But I think even just basics around Facebook and how to use Facebook, I was a bit like, oh, I don't think I'll be up for all of that. But it was so simple and it was just laid out in week by week. No, now I want you to do this. No, stay. I want you to do this. And so I think that consistent and simplistic approach is what also builds my confidence each week. And having someone who's like, no, we're going to do this photo. I'm like, oh, yuck. No, I don't want to do that photo. And then it's like, yes, that's the photo we're doing. No, I'm not having that one. I want this photo. So that really simple, but really focused discipline, I think, is quite powerful.
Yeah. And would you like to share with people, just from the one strategy of that photo that you resisted, how many calls did you book in from that one photo?
Yeah, I think I'd have to, I'm recalling now, but I feel like it was 12.
Yeah, it was about that.
Calls from that one photo. But even the discovery call process, it was just so, at first it was quite daunting. And then after a few times, after you practice it, it was like, oh, this is actually quite natural. So yeah, so even the discovery call process, and yeah, the photo was like, I had to, eat my words on that photo.
I remember getting the message from you saying, okay, Nina, I'm glad I listened to you.
Yeah, definitely.
So thinking back again, and I know you touched on this earlier, but I'd love to touch on it just a little bit more again. What were some of your fears and concerns prior to working with me, and how do you feel that they've been met now?
I think the obvious fear, the biggest fear was the investment, without a doubt. It was the investment, and it took me, well, as you know, it took me a while to, move through that. And at one stage, I remember you like halting the payments or something just temporarily so I could deal with it psychologically, what was happening. And I guess that also helped me understand, that resistance to having what I perceived to be the safety of money around me. So I think that was like a big shift for me in how I valued myself, not just in my pricing, but also in investing in myself. And just, I guess, looking back now, the community as well, because the community plays, like I thought, oh gosh, I've got more Zoom calls to go to, more groups to go to. I don't have time, but I've invested this money. But the community is actually, it's kind of like the nervous system that holds it together. So like you and I have a structure every week, but then the community also holds that structure together, I feel. So I learned a lot about community, in the sense of community that supports each other to grow their business, that really dedicated community.
I love that. That was going to be my next question. So, what is the Conscious Sales community like?
Oh, it's very safe. It's very safe, and it's very nurturing. We had a conversation only this week or last, I can't remember now, about the difference between mothering and nurturing. And I feel like that community just ebbs and flows between the two. So there are weeks where you feel kind of, oh gosh, got no sales, I've got no calls, so you feel quite vulnerable. And in that week, the group mothers, protects you in the way that just holds the space for you. And then the following week you might be, on the up and things are looking good, or you still might be challenged, but then they nurture you. They're like, okay, but we need to do this, and have we thought of this? And knowing that everyone collectively is going through similar things, because we're all sort of on the same trajectory growing our business, it helps you to realize that you're not alone. And it doesn't matter how old you are, what stage of the business you are, there are ebbs and flows to everything. And so when you're on the high, there's someone riding the wave with you. And when you're on the low, there's someone sitting in that low with you, which is nice.
I love that so much. And just like what you said, I really feel that everyone is so supportive of each other.
Very much.
Everyone is so willing to share their expertise, share their advice, give their heart, give their 2 cents, but also come from a very empowered, self-responsible place. We're not playing the victim. We're not saying poor me, but we are able to show up with whatever is present with us, whether it's crying or laughing.
Or technical expertise. It's not all just, the last thing I would want is for people to think that community is just for, we come there and we kind of chant and cry, and it's not like that. It is a bit of crying from time to time, but I think it's more about, it's backed with technical expertise. So it's like, all right, I'm really struggling here. What do you do with this situation? I'm really frustrated. And straight away there is someone on the call. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's someone else, but somebody is there to give you some substantive information to address your issue, not just a shoulder to cry on, which is also there. But it's more about, all right, moving forward, how are we getting out of this? What do I need? What resources do I need? And there's always someone there, whether it's branding, whether it's, hypnosis, whether it's, I don't know, sales techniques, whatever it needs to be. There's always someone in that container that, is ready and willing to offer up their support.
I love that. Thanks, Tab. So my next question is, what do you think makes Nina and my programs, my courses differ to others that you have invested in?
I don't know if I can answer that question because I have never invested like this. So, I mean, I've invested in training, and I have a lot of different smaller groups that that I'm a part of, and my NLP world is a big part of my life. But it's about ongoing professional development. Whereas this group, I think the difference is it's entirely focused on you growing your business, and I think that's distinctly different. I can't compare it because I haven't been in a container that is so dedicated and focused on you growing your business. So I don't know if I have a comparison for it.
I have an idea with a comparison. Obviously, we won't mention any names or details, but I know that there is another course that you have access to. And you were saying that, it's about building your business from scratch. So how would you say that differs just in the sense of content from, for example, my Conscious Coaching 101 modules?
I would say that, well, the difference for me is I don't look at your program as just modules. That's probably the difference. I find like that other program is very tactical and it's very helpful, very, very helpful, but it's not about so much a community. Whereas I know everyone in the container in the conscious sales. I don't only know them, but I know what they do. I can refer them. They know what I do. So I feel like it's just more of it's more of a collective network that's looking to sort of leverage off each other as well. Whereas this other course, it's a course and it's really helpful, but it's less about the leveraging of each other and the journey that you're on. It's very niched down into the information you need, and it's actually about niching. So it's very targeted in that respect, where conscious sales I think is more about the journey, the whole journey.
I love that. And the community really is a big part of the
very
experience.
Different. Yeah, it's very different. And I think that people in the community are very, very different as well. There's obviously lots of women in there, but there's also every now and again there's a guy that pops in, so I think the diversity of what we are doing, we're all very different, yet we're all focused on growing our business.
And so, Tab, why would you say that Nina would be the go-to person in sales for a coach who is wanting to grow their business?
Well, first of all, I'd say what I like about your approach, Nina, is that you might not be the person, and you're completely okay with that. You very early on pre-frame and work on, is there a rapport going to be there? Are we really aligned? Because you can tell very early on that you're not really about having everyone, there are specific connections and rapport that you're looking for because you're interested in the long run. So I would say, you're not for everybody, and I think you honor that in a really special way. And so if someone was looking to work with you, you definitely want to be committed, and you definitely want to be ready to be challenged. And if that's kind of not you, if you're kind of I just want a few tips and I'll be on my way, that's okay, but I don't think you'd be well matched in this space. This container also challenges you, as you said. Whilst we're there to support each other, we're not about being victims or staying in that lull, that sad space. It's about what do we need to do to move forward, and that's a challenge. I feel pretty much challenged every week in a good way. So yeah, if it's inertia or a slower momentum, it's probably not the space for you.
Yeah, and that's one of the other questions that I ask is, who are the people that are not for Nina?
Yeah, I think that becomes really evident in the call. You're very highly energized, and that high energy might not suit a lot of people, and that's okay. That's I think that's what I liked about the whole process. It's about understanding very early on if it's going to be a fit.
Yes, definitely. And that's how we all need to approach making sales, not just me, but I teach this to you guys and I teach it to, I say this to everybody. Like, we are not here to work with everybody, just our soul aligned clients.
Yeah. And I guess that's also what's helped me, is being able to sort of feel into that and go, like, say no. And that was hard. It's been very hard to sort of accept that some people are just not going to work with me. So, but I've become more comfortable with that because it's the best thing for them and it's the best thing for me.
Yes, amen. And so, Tab, in your opinion, what do you feel has been the biggest benefit of working with Nina?
So the biggest benefit, there are a lot of benefits. The biggest one, I think, is just having the confidence to know how to package and sell what I do. I didn't have that before. And now it's much easier for me to, even if I want to offer something different, like we're working on my program right now, it's not as difficult for me to kind of understand how I need to package it. And not only that, how I go to market with it, which I didn't even have that before. Like simple things like discovery calls, they're just so basic, but you explain them in such a way that I go, oh, okay, well, that's the starting sequence. I now understand where the rest of, my marketing and my follow-ups and everything needs to come from. It's that pipeline.
I love that. Are there any other benefits you'd like to mention?
Well, obviously it's just nice having somebody that you kind of, is holding you accountable, but they're also, they care about you and they can read into when, to lean in and when to lean out and, when to rope you in and when to create space. I think it's nice just knowing there's someone on your side, and even beyond, like yourself, Nina, like behind you are also that container full of beautiful people as well that are always there for you as well. So I think that's the other benefit, is just having someone and a group of people that understand you and kind of understand the challenges that it is to run your own coaching business. So yeah.
And so when you look, Tab, when you look at how much your business has grown and evolved in the 6 months that we have currently been working together, if we had not worked together, how long do you anticipate it would have taken for you to get to where you are now in your business?
Oh. Well, I think I wouldn't, it's hard to say what I would have done. I would have still been seeking that knowledge on how to package things. So, that's a difficult question, because I probably would have had to have gone, and I didn't know how to package it. So it would, without putting a figure on it, it definitely would have took longer for me, because I just didn't have the know-how. I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know how to turn it into a commercial service or a product. So I likely would have been quite busy because I wouldn't have been at the right price point, and because I didn't know who I was really servicing. So it's hard to sort of put a figure on that, but I feel like I would be quite exhausted delivering to everybody at a price that I was unhappy with.
Which, unfortunately, that's a lot of us when we start off.
Yeah, that's right. You're trying to be everything to everyone, and yeah.
And as coaches, it's the same as what we do with all of our clients, right? So even the transformation tab that your clients get working with you, like, it's that benefit of accelerating that process of, it could have taken X amount of time. So how can we just take a portion of that time and learn faster, to be able to get those results sooner?
And hone in. I think that's the difference. Like, just only focus on a select few areas until you get that right, like discovery calls. So I think just the ability to just focus has also sped up my learning and my growth of the business, because I've mastered certain things, not mastered them, but spent time to make them as best as they can be before I move on to the next thing, instead of having 50 things on the go.
Yes, I love that focus, like what you were saying. So a couple more questions. The next question is, for someone who has maybe been watching Nina for a while, who feels in alignment with Nina, but is just scared, is scared to take that leap of faith, what would you say to that person?
Well, first of all, I've asked if they've had a call with her, and if they haven't, I would say just have that call. But also, if they maybe had the call and they're still frightened of whatever, I would suggest often it would be the investment, because that's what my experience was. But I'd say talk to someone else. Like, I'd say talk to somebody else who has been through that journey with her. Talk to any of us in the container. And then also just ask yourself, if it's not now, then when? Because I think often we put off things, but we've got no finite idea of where we're putting them off to. And so, and then I'd ask, if it's putting off to a period in the future, like, what's going to change between now and then? Are you happy to stay where you are for that period of time? And if the answer is yes, you're happy, well, then that's not the place for you. I don't think Nina's right for you if you're happy to stay where you are.
Yes. So Tab, since you've had this massive growth, what's possible for you now that maybe didn't feel so easy to grasp 6 months ago? What is it, what's possible now?
Yeah, so I feel like what's possible now is the growth of my online presence, like the program that we're working on. I mean, I've always wanted to do that, but I feel like it's much closer now. And so with that just comes like exponential growth is, that's sort of limitless, the repeatability of what I do, and being able to just take that to the masses, which has always been, my intention and my desire to just bring, the healing properties of NLP to a much larger audience. And so in doing so, help society, live better and more congruently with each other. So I feel that's possible now because I have this understanding of how to package things and what my sales pipeline looks like and where to focus.
And so for those people who are watching that are thinking, oh my gosh, Tab's so amazing, she's so inspiring, I want to be like you. What do I do? What is the piece of advice that you would give to that person?
I would ask yourself, what is important to you right now? What is really important to you right now? And if it's growing your business for whatever reason, taking your message to the masses, then I'd really sit down in front of a mirror and ask yourself what's holding you back. Because depending on the answer to that question, then I think partnering with a coach, like I've partnered with Nina, is like the opening to understanding yourself more and getting whatever it is, whatever resources that you need to take you forward. But first of all, ask yourself what's important to you. If this business is important, then move forward. But I think a lot of the time we don't sit with that long enough to know, is this really what's important to me right now?
Yes, and many people probably don't know yet because we haven't officially announced it, but Tab is going to be coming on board with the Institute of Conscious Sales, and she's going to be doing some monthly delivery with a community and being able to share her knowledge, her expertise, and her love. And so how do you feel being able to be part of this community over the long term?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm looking forward to, giving exactly like what I was given, when I first joined, and being able to, help in that support that container provides for so many people.
Yay, I'm so excited. And so last question, my love, for those people who would like to connect with you, who would maybe like to have a discovery session with you, see whether you can support them with whatever it is that they're moving through, how is the best place or what is the bbest way for them to connect with you?
Sure. Well, they can generally on Facebook is probably the easiest way if they just, search Tabitha Catto or Sinceris Mindset Coaching. But they can also connect with me on Instagram. I'm there as Tabitha Catto as well. I have a website, sincerismindsetcoaching.com. And of course, they can email me at tabitha@sincerismindsetcoaching.com.
Amazing. Is there any last words that you want to share?
I think even I'm just sort of reflecting as I'm sitting here in my, home office at the moment. like even just the confidence to sort of sit on a, you know, on a Facebook Live and be interviewed, like that's not something I was comfortable with before. So I think sometimes we don't reflect on just how far a coach can help you, you know, in the journey that you're on. But certainly even just how relaxed I feel having this conversation is testament to, you know, what a partnership with the right coach can kind of bring out in you.
I love that so much. And Tab, let me just change the view for a second. From the bottom of my heart, I feel so honored and so blessed to be on this journey with you. I feel so honored that you trusted me, that you trusted yourself, that you trusted the process. And even when things got triggering, even when things got challenging, you still held your heart and you kept moving forward. And you are such a, I don't even know if invaluable is the right word in this sentence, but the level of love and presence that you bring to our group community with everybody who I'm working with in our group calls is phenomenal. So it was just such a no-brainer for me to see whether you could stay with us long term as this community grows and builds. So I want to thank you for the work that you're doing. I want to thank you for being here with us. And guys, please, if you're feeling what Tab is saying and you're like, oh, I need help with that, I'm feeling anxiety, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, she's phenomenal at what she does. So please make sure you reach out to her.
Thank you. That's beautiful, Nina. The pleasure's mine.
Thanks, everyone.